Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together, we are TwinFinity.
We're twin flames in union, sharing our journey through a series of videos. This is now video number 27. It's called The Path to Healing Part 1, which is about healing past lives. We're doing it in 2 parts. It's actually, we're only covering 7 months, but there's so much stuff that starts happening that we've had to break it into 2 parts. So there's Path to Union Part 1, and the next one will be Path to Union Part 2.
Okay, next up is our recap from last week.
Yes.
In March of 2013, I called Angie for her birthday and took her for lunch because I was able to, because I wasn't working and I had the time. A week later, Angie contacted me asking me to meet it with her again. She wanted to apologize for how she had treated me when we were together back in 1997.
Yeah.
From our second meeting, Angie felt as though her soul had been activated and she couldn't stop thinking of me. So she searched for answers and discovered we were twin flames.
Mm-hmm.
She did a little bit of internet work, a lot of internet work.
A lot, yes.
And I didn't have any idea what was going on.
Not yet.
Though Angie hadn't told me about our connection, I was starting to feel my soul activated as well. A year later, on Angie's 40th birthday, I had sent her a text wishing her a happy birthday, and to finish off the text, I said, "Love always."
Yeah.
Yeah, my feelings were still there. I felt good about doing that. And Angie was struggling in her karmic relationship, and she was seeing a spiritual counselor. She told the counselor about the twin flame information, but the counselor told her it was all a distraction from her karmic relation.
Yes.
Okay, one moment. Where we are. We've been here before, once before, and we weren't planning on being here for this video.
No.
But we had software issues. We had hardware issues. We had location issues. At about our 3rd or 4th try at a location, depending upon, did we like where we were, didn't we? Was there too much aircraft noise? Was there too much traffic noise? We finally settled on a spot, and we got about 10 or 15 minutes into the video, and I'm arachnophobic. I don't like spiders. A spider came creeping up the side, ran across the keyboard, and then leapt down towards us on our little blanket that we sit on. I jumped up, ran backwards. We were done. We were done. We gave up. Gave up trying to do a video anywhere other than in our backyard.
Yeah, so we had to come home and surrender to we wanted to still do it outside because it's beautiful out, but we finally had to surrender to just doing it at home at the backyard.
So anyway, just a little view of our backyard. I'm just going to tip everything up past where we are and note that we are on the edge of some giant boulders. It's about 10 feet down to the grass behind us. And yeah, I've got a leg balancing me over the edge. I'm all good. I'm not going anywhere. My other leg is folded underneath me, might fall asleep, but that's beside the point. I can deal with that after we're done.
And there are mountains back here. Oh, I can't even use my pointer. Whoa, that's scary. Well, I don't know how to do this so well. Those are mountains back there. This is very hard to do.
It is.
Yeah, so those are our mountains, but you can't really see them as great as what you could have in our original video, but,
But then again, we were also 3/4 of the way to the mountains, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometime we'll show you the bloopers videos, and we'll put the spider moment in there because it's really, really funny.
We've been talking about this because we have lots of outtakes. There's some videos we nail it first time, and
most of them actually.
Yeah,
we have a few that.
And sometimes we do tests, and we say crazy things, and once in a while, a spider creeps up on me, and I go leaping away from where we are.
Yeah.
So anyway, we thought that when we finally get to the video that catches us up to the minute that we're actually doing the video, when we finally get caught up with ourselves, the next 1 or 2, we might actually do a bloopers and outtakes video just for the fun of it, just so that you can see what doesn't go right sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we have a lot to cover in this video, as I was saying. I wanted to do this in one video, but there's so much that starts happening. So it's going to be done in 2 videos. But even this one has a lot in it, so we only have one quick thing to say before we get started, and that's about question and answers. We had done an inquiry a while ago, a couple weeks ago, to get people to ask their questions, and we were answering them in a video. We had 3 pages worth, so there was just no way we could do them all in one question and answer video. We have not forgotten about the rest of you, and we will definitely do another question and answer the rest of them. Unfortunately, though, we are just getting into Rob's next busy season.
Yeah, I got a couple of people away on holidays. It's going to be a crazy week. I will be very fortunate if we just manage to get part 2 of this video done for next week.
So we'll try and do it this week, but there's no guarantees. But we will get to it. We've not forgotten, you guys.
And also, this is just another thing, just to throw a bet out there. We think that we've got 8 videos till the time we get caught up with ourselves now. I'd like to throw it out there. It's going to be 12.
Yeah, at least.
There's just so much that's going to start to happen that's going to be relevant to our immediate real life that, lots.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on that note, we're going to get started. I'm starting in my journal back at May 5th of 2014, which is really, really neat because it was May 5th yesterday.
Yeah, we're dealing with May 6th, 2018 right now.
So this is like exactly 4 years ago that this all happened. Before I get into what happened, I want to first explain my friend Marie from our last video. She was the one that once I discovered the twin flame stuff, I would take my journal and take stuff from the internet and go to her and say, look, like, is this real? Am I crazy? So her and I have always kind of shared healers with each other. She's always going to different healers and Reiki people as well. So she's the one that referred me to this Reiki practitioner that I'm going to read about. What's also neat is when I was seeing the spiritual counselor, what I started doing was recording my sessions with her because I was finding there was so much information that happened in them that I couldn't remember it all. So I would record it, listen back to it, and then do the work that she had suggested. So I was already in the habit of doing this. So when I went to see this new Reiki practitioner, I recorded my sessions right from day one. I still have all of my recordings. But then what I was doing was actually listening to them and taking notes in my journal later. So that's what I'm actually going to be reading to you is the notes. In fact, I'll just show you.
It's all point form.
Yes, and there's like, it shows the times on the side of, you know, this is at what point in the recording that this was said or that was said.
15 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
I mean, did I ever in my wildest dreams think that I was going to be doing this and reading it to you in a video? Not at all. I was just doing this for my own purpose. But that's the amazing thing about this path. You only get one puzzle piece at a time, and you just think that puzzle piece is insignificant, when later in your journey you discover how significant it really was. So totally incredible that I have all these notes and I can just share them so easily with you. So on that note, I'm going to share. My first session with her, I told her nothing about me, very little. I don't even think I told her I was a nurse or anything like that. And very gifted woman. This was not your average Reiki session. She picked up a lot of past life stuff. A lot of intuition came through. So one of the things she said to me is that I was a healer in Atlantis and that I used to use crystals, and now I was to continue that same journey as a healer. And she said, there's something you didn't finish in that life in Atlantis, so you have to come back now. There's other stuff that I won't even get into because it really doesn't relate to our story, but there was stuff about working with fairies, working with a panther, just amazing things came through. And then, interestingly enough, I noted the time on this piece way back then when I was taking notes. It was 55 minutes and 50 seconds into the audio, so 555, on May 5th, no less. Crazy stuff. I said to her, there's something about the sky. So in this life that we were in, I was seeing the sky. And she said, keep looking, something's going to appear. And I said, it looks like a falling star. And then I wanted to say what else I actually thought that it looked like, but I didn't have the guts to tell her because I thought she was going to think I was nuts. But she was pushing me and she said, I can see something. What is it? What is it? So I finally told her that it looked to me like a spaceship. And she's like, yes, exactly. You got it. And she said, ask if they will let you in because they want to take you for a ride. I said, they're taking me back to my home planet. They're infusing me with energy and allowing me to feel the love of home so I can keep going. I said, it feels so good to feel the pure love again. We don't have hate or anger or any of those other harsh energies. And I said, they're helping me remember that I chose to come here to bring my love, not to hate it here and yearn to go home. Which is interesting because how many of us have that same feeling of, God, I hate Earth, and this is my last life, and I'm never coming back, and I hate it. And remember all of our other stories of my suicide and wishing to not be here. I've been there many times myself. So they were reminding me that we chose to come here, and we chose to come here for a much greater purpose than just to struggle. So then I was saying that they were infusing my cell with energy, or infusing every cell of my body with energy. And my Reiki lady was saying they're checking your DNA and every cell and atom. And I said, it just feels so good. I can't even describe what it's like. So she asked, is there any messages that they want to give you? And I said, yes, they're saying, keep going. I'm doing well, but I need to remember who I am and what my intention was for coming here, so I don't get lost in my humanness. Very interesting. It was the same thing I was being told in my Life Between Lives regression many years ago. So then I said their whole being, their whole energy just emanates such pure love. I mean, it was just amazing to go home, to remember my planet. It was just, what a gift. And then my Reiki lady was saying, now is the good time that's going to be coming. So you need to go for walks by rivers and in the mountains and connect with nature again. So it was just an absolutely fascinating session, and it validated to me that this woman, very gifted, because I had only discovered a couple years before this session that I was from the Pleiades, but I'd never been, I'd never had any memories, never really experienced any of this, and she validated it all for me. I could see it, she could see it. It was incredible. I have another session that I'm going to share with her, but before we get into that, Rob's going to tell you about a crazy, weird license plate game that we play, because it sort of intertwines with this next bit a bit first.
The license plate game is important to us.
Yes.
I'm going to describe what it is as quickly as I can.
We could do a whole video on
just this crazy game.
Yeah.
In Alberta here, our license plates start with 3 letters, and then they've either got 3 or 4 numbers after them. And so what we do is, starting the game is when you see 3 letters and then either 000 or 0000. When you see that, then you're looking for 001 or 0001, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and you work your way up through the numbers. This can take a long time, because sometimes you don't see the number you're looking for a long, long time, and other times they just come at you rapid fire. Right now I'm at 862. Boy, am I ever waiting for 999. And Angie's in 500 and...
Let's see if you remember.
587.
No, close. 586. 586 is what I'm looking
586.
for. I just got 585 yesterday. Yes. So I started playing this game. It's in our text. That's why I'm looking over here. May 7th of 2014. So that's like tomorrow will be 4 years ago that I started playing this
now
crazy game.
So the reason that it's important is it vastly increased the amount of times that we were in touch. I told her about this game during one of our suppers together, and then she got hooked into the game and she started to play it. Of course, we would text back and forth saying, oh, I'm at this number, I'm at that number, and instead of our communication being once every couple of weeks or a month or 2 months or, well, even years of a break, we started to text 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yep. And
with that texting came other forms of communication too. A little bit of catching up on life, and it was this crazy little license plate game was very important to us stepping closer.
Yes, it just kind of opened the door to communication. And what's funny is I have always been a license plate person myself. I love reading the vanity plates where people, make their own license plate numbers or words. And in fact, I'll just show you. This was way back from 2005. I was taking pictures of license plates. You can see there's 2 different Hawaii ones with the 444, because angels, for those of you that follow numbers. What I've always done is, instead of buying things for souvenirs, when I go to a different place, I take a picture of the license plate of that place that I've been.
Yeah.
And that's my souvenir. So I was already the kind of person to look at license plates, but I was not interested in playing this game because as a bookkeeper, I'd said to Rob, I deal with enough numbers in a day. I don't want to be looking at numbers and searching for numbers on a license plate. Yuck.
Do you realize how much traffic awareness you gain when you're continuously looking at the back of every vehicle around you? You know what's going on the road all over the place. It's actually increases awareness.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You would call it distracting, but I find I'm more aware.
So yes, the reason we're telling you about this is because it became huge in our communication, and it's what opened the door for us. Much like this next session of Reiki that I went to, in the end, she said, you're going to have more text and more telepathic communication with this person. And it became very true because of this ridiculous license plate game. So on that note, I'm going to share with you my next session with her. At this point, I was really starting, the twin flame stuff was just pulling me. Even though this other lady that I was seeing was saying, no, it's a distraction, I just couldn't, I mean, the telepathic communication between us was still there. So I was still being pulled in that direction. Now, when I went to see this new Reiki lady, I didn't tell her anything about twin flames. I think I barely even told her about Rob. I may have just said I have this old boyfriend and we're now back in contact, but I told her very little details. So in this session, it starts with her and I both seeing orange. Again, she could see what I was seeing through the session. And we discovered that I had been a princess in an Egypt life, in ancient Egypt. And it was to the point, like, I could describe what the inside of the pyramids look like. I've never been to Egypt. I've never researched anything. I don't have any clues about Egypt. Yet in this session, I was seeing everything very much like a past life regression. So I was describing all sorts of things, and I was saying that I even had this sort of sword that was like a key, and it held energy and the power. And I said, at the top of the pyramid, I see flames and a heart and thunderbolts. And I could describe what I was wearing. I said that I was, could see myself as tall, thin, pretty, with brown, long, dark hair and a braid, and an X symbol on my forehead with something dangling. And I said, there's something hanging from the top of the pyramid that's shining. And she said to me, you have a key in your hands. And she said, you're one of the aliens, and that is what's shimmering is a ship. It looks all dark all of a sudden. Oh, well. So she said, what I sense is you're not supposed to mix with the human in that life. It's one of your mistakes. And I said, I'm feeling them call me back, that I'm not supposed to have sex with humans in that life. She was then explaining that I need to go back to my planet and ask questions to find out more details of what happened. So because we had already been to my planet in my last session with her, it was already natural to just go there again. So she's saying that she can see how I look now, and then I was saying, yes, I can see that my body was a cloak or a mask so that I could fit in with the rest of the Egyptians. But it wasn't really who I was, because again, I was seeing my life in that planet. And she said, you fell in love with a human, and that was the mistake. That's why you were crying, because the human really touched your heart. So now you're going to like a court in your planet. Of course, because I did something wrong. I wasn't supposed to fall in love with the human. I was just supposed to interact with them and get to know them. So they're saying that I was here to teach and help, but it wasn't okay to have a romantic relationship. It wasn't my purpose. I'm just trying to skim some of this because there's so much. There's pages, and I could read it all because it's fascinating, but we'll be here all night. So they said they're showing me the connection we had in that life and how strong it was and why I still feel it now. Now we're talking about him and I. So I'm starting to understand, okay, we had a life in Egypt together, but we weren't supposed to get involved romantically. So they're saying he's in my life now to help me remember, or for me, sorry, to help him remember who he is, because he's sort of gotten trapped in his humanness and forgotten his spiritual powers. And then she's validating, going, exactly. It was so cool. She understood everything I was saying. So I was being told that I'm very advanced as a planet being, and that it's not my intention or purpose to connect with him romantically in this life even. If it happens, great, but it's not the intention. That my intention is more to help wake him up, though, and help him remember who he is. So they're saying it's the point of decision is more up to him, if he's willing to let go of his fears and connect on that deep level of love again. He's a bit lost, she said. So she was saying, send him love. And I said, yes, but not with any intent of him wanting to be with me or not, but just to help him remind himself of who he really is, because that's really my purpose with him. So I was already becoming aware that it wasn't necessarily for a romantic relationship. Great if it happened, but that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was more to help him remember who he really was. And then I said, they're telling me I did a really good job last night. We've always had this amazing connection, and I felt a desire to communicate with his soul. So I said to him telepathically, if you can hear me, text me, and he did. So if you remember from our past video, I was sharing that I did this, and here's where I actually wrote it. So then they're just saying, if it turns romantic, great, but that's not the point. The point is to reach out to his soul and communicate with his soul and help him remember who he is, because he's sort of gotten a bit lost and stuck in his humanness. You're the only one who's going to be able to give him guidance to go back to spirituality. So I said, they're also telling me that I'm constantly fearing ending up in an affair, because of course I'm still with my karmic partner, even though we're not fully together, but we haven't ended our relationship. We haven't said we're done. So I'm afraid that, now that I've got him back in my life and we're starting to communicate, like, what am I doing? Am I going to cross lines? And they're saying if something romantic comes out of it, my partner right now will just naturally break up and fall away. That on a spiritual level, we all understand what's happening, and I don't need to worry about hurting anybody. That I just need to follow my soul's pull, because I'm very and almost magnetically pulled to this man, is what I said. My Reiki lady then says, oh, like a twin flame. And I nearly died when she said that in the session, because again, I told her nothing. And here she's aware. So that was the validation I needed, that okay, this twin flame stuff is real. And I said, yes, that's exactly what it is. So again, then we were talking about what my purpose was to do with him. And then we also started realizing why Rob at that point had so much fears around spirituality. And even when we were dating many years ago, you were like kind of freaked out by it all.
It's always been a boundary push, I'm going to say up until this time around.
Yes. So she's saying you had to go to Egypt to fix something, and you're going to travel to Egypt. I just don't know when. Well, we still haven't been, but we did heal things in this session too. What we discovered is that we fell in love in Egypt. This is way back ancient Egypt. But because I was not supposed to connect with a human in that life, he got put in jail for it, and I got kind of in trouble from my own planet people. And so then she's saying, remember that key you had, that sword that you remembered from the first part of our session? You have that key. You can help him unlock himself from jail. What is the amazing thing about twin flames? We have the locks that fit each other's keys and the keys that fit each other's locks. So it was so cool that this key that I had found in the beginning of our session now fits later in our session. So I had to go unlock him from this jail that he was in way back in that time of Egypt, and work with him on healing the kind of energy that we had in that life of being chastised for being together. So then she says to me, what I sense about your twin flame is that you're going to continue talking with him by telepathy, and he'll get it. Right now, he's kind of in the dark, but not really. In other words, he really is deeply spiritual and very much aware, but he's just closed off to it because of all this fear and this trigger from that life. So she said the conversations have to be telepathic. Always you have to be yourself, from your soul to soul with him. Then finally he's going to get it. But right now it's like he's in the dark and you need to open more doors for him to find the light. He's fearful. He's deeply, deeply spiritual, but he's fearful. And she's like, exactly. You have the opportunity to go back and heal everything. So that's what we were doing. And she could even see what he looked like. We validated he was really handsome and no clothes on. Okay, some clothes on.
It's only 10 feet off the edge of these rocks. I can exit now.
Oh, I thought I was the one exiting. I thought you were pushing me up.
Nope.
So it was just an incredible session of so many things. Validation that, yes, we are twin flames. Validation of understanding why he's always had this fear of spirituality and healing it all. Just so much came out of it that was absolutely incredible. It was an amazing session. So then more crazy things started happening in our lives. I was now meeting a course with my friend Marie. We would meet at Starbucks. I'm just going to see if I can move this and make it lighter. I notice now that the sun's going down, we're getting dark. Every video we seem to be dark in. We're light people, I swear. Okay, it's not working. Oh, there. We got some sun. Okay, a little bit. That's better.
There we are.
So we would meet at Starbucks. Not Tim Hortons. We actually met at Starbucks because I'm a green tea latte kind of person, and Tim Hortons doesn't have those. And when we were at Starbucks, I kept seeing this crazy advertisement they had at Starbucks. And everywhere we were at the Starbucks, I kept seeing this. Say yes, say yes. So you know how when you get that, when you see a message and you just feel there's intuitively something more to it than just a stupid sign on the door or the wherever? So I finally asked, what is it with the say yes that you keep trying to tell me, Spirit? And then they said to me, Rob's going to ask you a question, and when he does, say yes. And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, okay. Well, it was only days later that he texts me. Now I got to move all our texts over here.
And
so
while she's doing that, I'm going to explain a little bit of background behind this. Every year I try to do what I call a solstice climb. That's the summer solstice, like the weekend before, weekend after, or if it happens to fall right on the weekend. I like to take a small mountain and hike up to the top of the mountain during the evening time and catch it at the summit just as it's dark, and then watch the world from there for half an hour, and then hike back down in the darkness into the early morning of the next day, jump in the vehicles, go home, get home about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning,
yep.
Go to bed, and then continue on from there.
It's super fun.
Yeah. So, hike up in the daylight, hike down in the dark. And I texted her.
And this was May 16th.
May 16th. Okay. I said, just planning way ahead. Summer solstice climb, Saturday, June 21st, Yates Mountain. Depart near 6 p.m., celebrate summer at the summit at about 10:30 p.m., and back to the vehicles around 1:30 a.m. Sunday, and then home and asleep by 3 a.m.-ish.
Now, normally, I don't know if I would have said yes to this because I had not climbed a mountain since him and I were together many, many years ago. Back in like 98 was probably the last time I climbed a mountain. So I'm like, and I'm 40 now. I just turned 40. Do I really think I can climb a mountain at 40?
Now, also, as part of this invitation, I understood that it wasn't just me going up to the summit of the mountain. It was myself, and it would be Angie if she decided to come along. It would be my karmic partner number 2, and quite likely her son, and a couple of other of our friends that we normally go out hiking with. So, yeah, this would be a second meeting of Karmic 2 and Angie.
Yes.
And, of course, in the back of my mind, I was also thinking, well, this might be a good time to also meet Angie's person.
Yeah. And he was supposed to come. So, of course, I ended up going because of the say yes message that I got at Starbucks. I was like, okay, say yes, I guess I'm supposed to.
She said yes.
I was freaked out because by this time I had validation that yes, we were actually twin flames. I was now reading non-stop, learning everything I could about twin flames. And one of the things that I had read is that you can't hide your love for each other. You see it, other people see it. And I'm like, oh God, are you kidding me? The last thing I want to do is go be around his friends and especially his karmic partner and have her know that how I feel. So I was freaking out, but I went. And I swear all of his friends must have thought I was a snob because I wouldn't barely socialize with them because I was so afraid to have them see what I felt. It was like, oh my God. Because of course I hadn't told him.
No, I still knew nothing yet. I just thought I was just inviting her on a climb. And she'd climbed before, of course.
Yeah.
We'd gone up hikes and mountains together. I was thinking it was just a great chance for her to finally experience a solstice climb.
And, oh look at that, there's a deer right there.
Oh,
sorry,
gee.
but we're going to interrupt this because you have to.
Oh.
This
is in our backyard.
Well, this is actually our neighbor's backyard.
Our neighbor's backyard, but there's no fence. Right over there in the corner is a deer nibbling away on their poor flowers. Isn't that just neat? Right up against the fence. Okay. I was wondering if we were going to see a deer out here today. We quite often do see deer in our yard.
This is the cool thing you get when you do videos outside. You either get spiders or you get deer. We'll go with deer.
Usually it's rabbits.
Yeah, we got a lot of rabbits.
But this winter we probably saw deer 15, 20 times wandering around our yard.
Lots. So anyway, back to our story. I go with them to do this mountain. I have not told him anything. And the reason I didn't tell him we were twin flames is because we were both still, for all intents and purposes, in relationships.
Sure.
I'm not a home wrecker. I didn't want to destroy anybody's life. Plus, I didn't even understand enough about this yet. I was still just really learning. And what was I supposed to say? Oh, yeah, you're terrified of spirituality because I've just now had this validated in this other Egyptian life that I've discovered, and now I'm supposed to tell you what we are? No, not doing it. So one of the things I remember from this experience, or do you want to share?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. We finally get to the top of the mountain, and I've kind of ignored everybody. Rob did at one point come and chat with me as I was way ahead of everybody on the climb.
I didn't know why she was so freaked out. I could tell that she was nervous and trying not to be around everybody. Like we were also spread out in our own little micro groups because what was there, 6 or 7 or 7 of something like that.
Something like that.
So we'd drift around and we were spread apart 100 yards up and down the mountain. But Angie was always way out in front and most of the time by herself.
Yes.
So I caught up to her once or twice just because I could.
Yeah, we'd chat But by the time we got to the top of the mountain, I remember I was sitting kind of looking over at the valley, and then he came and sat beside me. But he didn't just come and sit beside me. He came and sat beside me. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're like, pretty much wife is sitting right there. Like, are you crazy? I just thought it was very odd that he was awfully, like, close.
A couple of other people, I sat right beside them, too.
No, but you're friends with them.
I'm friends with you.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, it freaked me out. I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I was still like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I know too much with this man and I, and what's he doing sitting beside me?
Yeah, maybe I failed Judgment 101. Oh well. Sorry about that.
It was good. I'm not complaining. But. Yeah. And do you want to share the other cool experience from that one? The train?
Yes. Where we were on a mountain that overlooked our major highway and railway line, and I noticed it had turned dark, but we could see the glowing dome cars of the Rocky Mountaineer rail train working its way through the valley. Now, of course, the railway cars, from the height that we were, sort of looked like caterpillars down on a sidewalk. If you're walking, they were all smalls. They're way down there too. So anyway, eventually we would ride the Rocky Mountaineer train for real, but that would be a few years after we had just seen it from the top of the mountain.
You gonna tell them when, or is that like a secret? Could I tell them when? It was actually our honeymoon. We did the Rocky Mountaineer train, so obviously by the name, it's a train that goes through the Rockies, which is where we live, right? And so it was amazing to see this way back in 2014, and then in 2017, we did this. We rode this train. It's been a dream of ours for a long time, separately. We didn't know it was a dream of ours together until we got back together and we're like, oh, I'd love to do that. So it was just amazing to be at the top of the mountain, sitting there with him, watching this train, and then years later, we're on this train.
Yeah.
The magic of this incredible journey. This is why we tell our story, to give you hope that the things that you're experiencing now, you just never know where you're going to be in a couple years from now.
So much has looped around over the years to come back to be reality.
Incredible. So now back to my journal. This is now June 23rd, and I was meeting with my friend Marie again, of course, to tell her all this crazy stuff that's happening. We would meet at Starbucks every couple of weeks for me to tell her all the nutty stuff that was going on. So I said I just met with Marie this evening to tell her about my appointment with my Reiki lady. As I shared my whole story, she was telling me how I had this glow on my face, which is, interestingly enough, the spiritual counselor that I was seeing, she said I had the same glow when I talked about Rob. So other people could see it, which was why I was afraid to go on this climb. So I said I was telling Marie that I talk with Rob telepathically all the time now. I didn't share about him saying in my meditations that I should talk with him in person and tell him how I feel, and me asking for a sign to confirm that it's really him that I'm hearing. So he kept telling me telepathically, tell me, just don't be afraid, I can take it. And I'm like, no, the Rob that I know, there's no way he could take this. So I asked for, now this is going to come up later, and this is why I'm telling you this now. I asked for the sign of a heart with wings with flames in it. That's a good twin flame sign. So I was like, and it's a hard one. So I'm like, I want a hard sign. If you can give me that, then fine. This is real. And I was getting from him that night, just as I was driving home, I was getting all these songs about fire. I was seeing hearts. Not a surprise to any of you, I'm sure. My car is covered in hearts. So of course I'm seeing all the hearts on my car. And I'm like, no, none of that's good enough. Songs about fire, but no, not good enough. It's so cool watching our deer.
Yeah, deer's now going to be walking behind us here shortly.
We're usually inside when we see the deer. We're not like right up on the rocks when they're walking on the grass. So sorry, we're a bit distracted. This is cool.
I'm just keeping track of where the deer is, so if you see me looking around, that's just fine.
One of our regular commenters loves our outdoor videos, and he keeps commenting he wants to see a bear. Well, this isn't a bear, but I hope you're happy. At least it's a deer.
One more time.
Sure, yeah, one more time.
Look
at me staring right at me.
Yeah, there we are. Deer right behind us, right below us, just right near our balconies and patios. It's normal for around here. We live in a wonderful place.
It's normal, yet it never gets old to me.
No,
I absolutely, they're magical beings to me. I love them. I'm like blocked in the sun. Okay, so this is another cool experience that happened shortly after all of this. This is now June 27th of 2014. I said I had a neat experience in my meditation last night. I decided not to do anything with Rob in my meditation, so I would hopefully sleep better. Because I was now meditating, when I'd meditate every day, I would do a bunch of work with him telepathically like I was instructed to do from my last Reiki session. You know how she was saying, talk to him, help him heal, reassure him, send him love. So I was doing all that. But I was saying, since sending him energy to help him wake up, I find I do it in my sleep too, and I then have a strange sleep. So I just breathed and spent time focusing on my breath and my meditation. Then, near the end of the meditation, Rob's partner came to me and said it was time for she and Rob to be done, and she handed him over to me, saying it was now our time together. Crazy, cool, amazing stuff. It gets better.
All during meditation.
Yes. I had the most amazing meditations through this time of us starting to come back together. Like, just crazy things were happening. And I truly was starting to wonder, am I nuts? Am I losing it? But then everything I'm reading is validating what I'm getting.
Just going to readjust our picture here a little bit so that you don't have to.
Oh, okay, thank you. Except I have. Oh, there. I can do that. There.
Yeah.
Now my head's in behind the sun. Or it's in behind me. Whatever.
Yeah, we got shadows.
Yes.
And the sun's come out through a hole in the clouds. It's keeping things interesting.
So I said she handed him to me as a baby wrapped in white, and then also gave me papers for him that she signed over to me, kind of like I was adopting him. I kept thanking her and telling her how grateful I was. She kept saying I didn't need to thank her, that her time with him was up, and it had been planned and agreed on this way long ago. She also said, sorry, That's what she said. She also said he
I
was
cannot
challenging.
imagine her ever saying that, but that's how we are in this life.
But I got it in my meditation.
We live one life, but our soul contracts are the contracts.
And it's not like I would make this up. I don't see him as challenging. Oh, okay, sometimes, but mostly not.
I can be challenging.
When you're
Come
tired.
on. Oh, yeah.
Very challenging.
Oh, that would be today.
Yes. So she said he was challenging, like she was happy to be passing him on, and that she'd done the best she could with him and was now done. Again, why would my mind couldn't make this up. Why would I make that up? Funny. So I said, very interesting. She was nice, but matter of fact, like she wasn't doing me a favor or anything, that this was just the way it was supposed to be, and that she was ready and kind of relieved to be passing him on, like she'd had enough and done enough. Rob's soul telepathically kept saying not to worry. Oh, sorry, this is another little section. I think that's it for now. Yeah, so that's it on that. So just an amazing meditation that she handed him to me as a baby, wrapped in white. So to me, that signifies like being brand new, being rebirthed. And the fact of, that I didn't need to thank her because this was just the way it was supposed to be. So again, this is how the divine works. That our karmics, even though they may not remember it in this life as their human self, they have been a part of the soul contract. They are very much a part of the design of this whole relationship that you're going to have with your twin flame.
And
fascinating.
Between your spiritual counselor and yourself and my karmic too, and other people that I've had, I've had no choice but either grow or fall way, way behind and just absolutely give up on everything and go live like a hermit in the mountains someplace. It's just been, I don't think I know anyone else other than myself who's just been pushed by every person that's come into my life and then sometimes leaves, sometimes stays. I've had to just learn to pay attention. And when I started to pay attention more and more and more to the thought that I needed to grow, I needed to learn, and it started to show step after step that every time I learned something, it became relevant sometime in the future. It became much easier to continue to grow because I would see something that would stretch my boundaries, and then I would say, okay, pay attention, save it for the future, or it might just be the next day, who knew?
And what's also interesting, if you remember from our last video when the very first telepathic experience I had with Rob, he was saying, I really want to be with you, but I feel inadequate to you spiritually. Well, now it was making sense because of that Egypt life. He was feeling inadequately spiritually because he had closed off spiritually, whereas all the years in all our other lives and stuff, I was still advancing. So he was like, you're so much further ahead. When really I wasn't. It was just that's how he was feeling because of I
was unpracticed.
Yes. So it was just amazing, all the little pieces that were starting to fit together. I was like, okay. So now by this time in our story, Rob and I are talking telepathically constantly, daily, like it's just almost nonstop. There was actually sometimes I'd be out for a walk and I'd be chatting out loud to him, and then people would kind of look at me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's out loud. Sorry, I got to talk in my head. But I would just be chatting away with him. It became natural. So then he said to me one time that telepathically he keeps saying not to worry. I may not hear from him for a while, but also not to worry, that it's all fine, that he couldn't leave me even if he wanted to. We are too bound together. And then I said, I've been reading more on the signs of twin flames and the stages we go through in the telepathic communication. How one is usually awake and to send love to the other one to awaken them. But once the other awakens, they catch up fast to the other, which totally true. We're going to see in our story as it progresses. I mean, I had 1.5 years of studying twin flames. I told him within 2 days, 3 days, you got it. And you had read nothing, and he already knew. And I'm like, how the hell do you know this? I've been studying this like for years.
It just came to me. But that's another story. That's another story.
Yes. So I said, reading all of this, I feel less nuts and less anxious, like all is well and I don't need to force anything. It'll happen when it happens, and it's all good. The magnetic pull to him, though, drives me nuts at times. Sometimes I wish I could just stop thinking of him for a while and just get on with my life instead of continually wishing for a text from him. Yeah, I was still hoping for a text, and every day I'd text him about license plates, and then I'd get one back, and oh, yay, we're still communicating. It was only license plates, but hey, it was communication. I wasn't complaining.
I've just been chuckling away here. A few of you would have maybe noticed that. I'm going to, after we're done the video, I'm going to ask her, what's the difference between feeling nuts and feeling just a little less nuts? I gotta know how she's going to answer that.
I don't know. I don't know if there is a difference. Just nuts is nuts. It's all crazy. Oh, Lord. So then on July 2nd, I said, interesting developments in the Rob area. Since I last wrote, I've had this burning desire, almost obsessive, to start reading my journals again of when Rob and I met. I've been reading like mad, almost like I'm having to remember to awaken us or something. It's amazing, exactly like all that I've read on the internet says about twin flames. So I'm now realizing and for sure validating that my journals match the stuff from the internet, much like we've shared with you through our whole story and all these things about merging and I can't even remember some of the other twin flame words right now, but all these things that we've shared with you along the path is just, wow. Okay, so now I said, now in real world, in other words, real world was like us talking 3D, but that's actually not real world, that's the illusion, but I called it real world in my journal. So I said, now in real world, Rob texted me back Friday night and also invited me on a climb for Canada Day.
Canada Day, July 1st.
Yes. So do you want to tell about the Canada Day climb that we went on?
Well, yeah, I can take a run at it. She's going to tap me on the shoulder and want to throw in some extra bits here too.
Only because I have them written, so I remember. But, you know, we won't share everything I wrote.
There had been a little bit of banter back and forth about doing a climb on Canada Day because, hey, you know, it's a day off. That's always fun. And I had this great idea that Angie and her karmic could go for a climb with just myself and my karmic 2, and just celebrate Canada Day that way. Well, my idea almost came to fruition, except on the morning of heading out on the climb, my karmic came down with a mystery illness. She wasn't feeling good, etc., and I, to this day, do not know whether it was a case of nerves because she'd picked up on too much from the Solstice climb, or because it was only just a few days before. It was only, 11, 12 days earlier.
Yeah.
But either way, she bowed out. So, off to a place called Powderface Ridge, Angie, her karmic, and myself. We were all in one vehicle. I was doing the driving. Mm-hmm. It was just the three of us. Off we go. Now, this is the first time I'd spent any amount of time at all with her karmic person.
Yes.
We started out. We got up to the summit of our Powderface Ridge, and he was quite proud of himself. This isn't something he would normally do. So it's funny
actually reading our texts. You're like, "What's he got for shoes?" And you're like inquiring all these things, like, "Has he been on a climb before? Should I dial it back and do a smaller mountain? I don't know what to do with this poor guy."
Yeah, I don't want to overdo someone the first time around, especially when I'm trying to make a positive impression on this poor person. A positive impression, even if it was made, would have been all wiped out in the future at some point, but that's for the future.
That's for the future. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
So,
God.
Anyway, went up to the top, came back down. The usual amount of grouse that live on that mountain were also present in the tree lines. That was also fun too, watching them hike away. What do you have, Dad?
I just remember being freaked out again because now, I'm even learning more about twin flames, and here I am now with my karmic and Rob. Yeah. And if you remember from a couple videos ago, before my karmic was my karmic, when he was just my boss and only had known me like 3-4 months, and he dropped me off to meet Rob when we were working in Calgary. We weren't even living here. He's the one that said to me the day later that, he still loves you, right? And I'm like, oh God, like, what am I doing? Now I'm not only worried about like people seeing how I feel about Rob, but now they're going to see how he feels about me. So I was freaked out again. I remember I made him sit in the front seat next to you because I didn't want to have to sit
Yeah.
in the front seat with you. And he was like, no, you sit in the front. No, not. I'll sit in the back. I'll be quiet. It's just the whole time on the climb, I'm like barely talking.
See, now, not knowing anything about twin flames, I was just kind of excited to meet the guy for real. Like, I wasn't thinking, Angie and I got a future together here.
No, you weren't there yet at all.
I was just happy to have Angie active in my life again.
Yeah.
So I was all kind of happy-go-lucky that day. I was kind of excited. It was a good day.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned. I think Angie hid her stress fairly well. I could tell that she was, again, a little bit off her game, but I, of course, didn't know why.
Thank God. Yeah, in fact, it's funny. One of the things I wrote in my journal about that day was when you dropped us off. I said, Rob picked us up and dropped us off. And when he dropped us off, he was kind of funny, like he didn't want to leave. He met Cookie, our dog.
Oh.
Still had her.
The dog that was their dog that
Yes.
became our dog.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
And then I said, then he was looking in our garage, just sort of checking things out. It was interesting. And I also wrote, I was concerned that Regan would pick up on the connection between Rob and I like he did when we met 6 years ago and said he still loves you. So I was just like, I mean, the whole day I was not myself at all because I just didn't know how to be. Now, the other reason we wanted to share about that day, not that it wasn't crazy enough all by itself.
This is kind of fun.
Yes. You want to talk?
I'll say.
You go.
This is a set of pictures. This is 2 pictures. And there's Regan's cap off to the side. I'm leaning on both of their shoulders, standing in between them with my elbows. And we covered him up for privacy issues, of course.
Respect his privacy.
But I'd like you to pay attention to the thought that that shirt is that shirt.
Yes.
And that this shirt is that shirt. Yeah. We still have those shirts.
Yes. This was back in 2014, so it's only been 4 years. We keep our clothes a long time.
Yeah, I guess we do.
Yes, we
Actually,
do.
I save this for special occasions now, because this is my Canada Day shirt.
Yes. So we have pictures of us. We don't have many pictures of us way back from 1997, but we do have pictures of us from 2014.
From 2014, yes.
Oh, our crazy, crazy twin flame lives, as you all know from being on this journey yourselves. So I think that's kind of where we're going to leave it, but let me just see if there was anything else. I did have a few things marked, but I might save them for next time.
Yeah, there'll be a next time. And hey, and this is why 8 videos will become 12.
This is only July. Now, our next video, we're hoping, we'll get to November of 2014, because that's when things really change.
That's all of a sudden when white hot isn't hot enough.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. I'll save this little tab for next time. So, welcome to the world of crazy twin flames, if you haven't already been, which I'm sure you have.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. So, yes, we will say goodnight. Remember, as always, to connect with your twin, go within. And we will catch you in another week for part 2 of The Path to Union.
I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yes, we are too.
There's lots of research between the journals and the texts. Poor Angie has been going nuts.
Yeah.
It's been, you think that switching over to text it would be easier. I don't think so.
No, it just makes it more confusing.
There's been the odd shoulder rub and back rub required. Poor girl.
It's all fun.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to say goodnight from sunny Calgary.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.